don't beat yourself up, and to don't think that is your fault, or to don't think that, it's something you did.
You're listening to the Erica and McAfee podcast, a faith-based podcast for Black women and women of color to share stories of grief and loss due to miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, with journeys of trying to conceive and infertility. Welcome to episode 34 of the Erica and McAfee podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Erica. It's the last day of Black History Month. We are highlighting the fourth book of 6 books of Black authors around faith, miscarriage, stillbirth, infant and pregnancy loss, and hope to continue on this grief journey. In today's episode, we have Tiffany B.Renee Upchurch-Rivera, who shares her ectopic pregnancy loss and infertility journey. Tiffany is also the author of Ruined Womb, From Fertility to Inspiration, a book of poetry and spoken word pieces to inspire those who have faced infertility or child loss. She's a veteran, Army wife, mom to Elijah, and she loves to write poetry, books, anything that shares the light of God to others. Her writing style is unashamedly transparent, freeing, and relatable to those who have a past but who strive for excellence every day. Tiffany shares how an STD caused her to have a blocked fallopian tubes, her surgery to unblock them, loss of a fallopian tube due to an ectopic pregnancy, and stay tuned for a special spoken word piece from her book. Here is Tiffany Rivera. Thank you, Tiffany, for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored and blessed.
Well, tell everyone about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Tiffany B.Renee Rivera, and I'm an author, a poet, a writer. I've been writing poetry ever since I can remember. I guess I was writing ever since I was a teenager, so that's just what I do. As I got older, it just elevated into, me being a magazine writer, and then writing for a newspaper, and then, still writing poetry, and then, the poetry that I wrote, it just turned into a book. So I'm really honored, and I'm really blessed, and I feel really good for you having me on your show tonight.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. So tell us about your loss story. Take us on that journey to, having a baby.
Okay, awesome. Well, I had my son when I was a sophomore at Federal State University. I had him, but and I didn't know at the time that the young man that I dated, that he had 2 STDs at the same time. And he gave me gonorrhea and chlamydia.
Oh, wow.
At the same time. And so, of course, I'm young, I have my son. My son is 2-3 years old, I have my son, and, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm dating this guy, I have these 2 STDs, my next step is to go to the health department, of course, and get treatment. So I go to the health department, and they give me pills, I'm thinking everything is fine, and I can move on with my life, right? Mm-hmm. So years go by, and I meet my husband. And immediately after we get married, we get stationed in Germany. By that time, my son is 5. We get stationed in Germany, and my husband and I, we start trying to conceive. And so, we tried a year, nothing happened. We tried another year, nothing happened. And we're like, okay, what's going on? So the German doctor there, they recommended me to go to a specialty hospital to just go check my tubes, to go check my reproductive system, all of that. So I went and got all of that checked, and come to find out the 2 STDs that I had previously caused severe scarring on my fallopian tubes. Mm-hmm. And both of my tubes ended up being closed, permanently closed. And so I had to undergo 2 rounds of surgery to get them to open. Mm-hmm. And so finally the doctor opened them, which was really good. And then after that, we got stationed in Korea, and we stayed in Korea for 2 years. And while I was in Korea, I had my first loss. November 7th, 2012. I had my first loss. And that was devastating because as a woman, like you always have the faith and you always just pray and just ask God, hey, bless my womb. But it shocked me because right before I found out I was pregnant, I had a dream that I was pregnant. But in my dream, I was sad. So I didn't really understand, okay, if I'm pregnant, I should be happy. I shouldn't be sad. And I think that was God, like, revealing to me, like, okay, this is what's about to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
I had my first loss, and it was an ectopic pregnancy. And for those that are listening, an ectopic pregnancy is when the pregnancy is in your fallopian tube and not in your uterus. The baby was about 7 weeks. And, I was asking questions like, hey, can you take the baby out the tube and put it in my uterus? They were like, no, we can't do that. And so they had to give me 2 shots of chemotherapy to terminate the pregnancy, unfortunately. And so after that, we underwent all types of fertility treatments, from pills to IUI. We tried that, and nothing seemed to work. And so, anyway, we came back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I just kind of, I kind of felt some way about it at first. I kind of, didn't want to try again, And then I was like, okay, let me try again. So, I started trying, and, I started praying again and started, laying hands on myself and just praying to God, like, God, bless my womb, bless my womb. So my second ectopic pregnancy came actually on my husband's birthday. It came on June 24th, 2015, so 2 years ago. I wasn't expecting that at all because 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant, I was cramping really, really bad. And I was like, okay, I'm not spotting, I'm not bleeding, this is not a menstrual. What's going on? And at first I was mad because I was like, oh, did my husband give me something? Like, what's going on? So I was kind of mad at him because, I just previously mentioned that I had STDs before. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, you need to explain yourself. But it wasn't none of that. Anyway, the day of his birthday, like the morning of, I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm in excruciating pain. And so I get up. I'm like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? And I go downstairs to use the bathroom thinking of, okay, I'm going to say something bad. Like, maybe this would just, I don't know. So I go downstairs. I use the bathroom. And I felt a little bit better. But on the way back upstairs, like, all of this pain just hit me all at once. And I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And so I'm crawling up the steps to get to my husband. I'm about to cry just thinking about that, because it was so excruciating. I couldn't even walk. It was that bad. And so I'm crawling up the steps, and I don't want to wake him, I don't want to bother him because, today's his day, it's his birthday, I want it to be special. But I'm like, okay, I'm in pain. Like, what's going on? So I wake him up. I say, babe, like, you need to wake up because I'm in pain. Like, we need to go to the hospital. So we go to the hospital, and they made me take a urine test. And I'm not thinking anything of it, So, I take a urine test, and they say, they come back and they say, hey, we got some exciting news and not so exciting news. He was like, you are pregnant, but it's another ectopic pregnancy. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And he was like, this time, this one actually bust through your fallopian tube.
Oh, wow.
And this one was actually still trying to grow through it.
Wow.
So this baby was determined to be here, but, unfortunately. So, and it was a little further along than the first one. So, and that's why I was in so much pain because the baby had bust through on the other side of the tube. And I started bleeding internally. And so that's why I was in so much pain. So they had to remove my left fallopian tube. So I still have my right one. So after that, I was just like, okay. I got depressed. I got very suicidal. I got insecure. it was tension between me and my husband. You know, we wasn't getting along, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is not good. And I don't know, like I think somebody called me one day and was like, hey, Tiffany, God told me to tell you that you're supposed to write something. Yeah, you're supposed to write something that's going to change your life. You know, you may not think that, you know, that you have anything to say, but trust me, God is, you know, she said, you know, I could see it. Like, you need to write a book about your life and what's going on with you. I was like, wow. And so that's how my book came along.
Today's episode is brought to you by sistersinloss.com. We are holding a Sisters in Loss brunch on April 21st, 2018 in Chesapeake, Virginia. The Sisters in Loss community is a community of Christian Black women who have experienced a loss due to a miscarriage, infant or child loss, pregnancy loss, stillbirth, or infertility. Our mission is to tackle the difficult questions around grief, loss, marriage, love, and self-care while on the journey of healing through the Word of God, gaining clarity and peace by the power of testimonies, and in finding an empowering path forward after loss. This year's theme is From Surviving to Thriving. The brunch is kicking off National Infertility Awareness Week, which is April 22nd through 28th, 2018. Our goal is to provide the women in attendance there a support community for their grief journey, hope after loss, and to go from surviving to thriving after loss. For more information on the Sisters in Loss brunch, visit sistersinloss.com.
Well, let's talk about your book.
To inspiration.
Yes, let's talk about it. Ruin Womb, from fertility to inspiration. Let's talk about what your book is about, and then, you know, kind of what the readers can expect from it.
Okay, so my book is a collection of scriptures, poems, prayers, and questions that are used to encourage women and families who struggle through infertility, ectopic pregnancies, miscarriages, child loss, the whole shebang, right, is used to encourage you. You know, is used to take you to that intimate place all by yourself or all with your family, you know, just like in an intimate setting, and just read and just really soak in and just really take some nuggets into what I'm saying. The scripture, it just adds to the poem. And then the poem, after the poem, I have a breakdown of the poem. And then after that, I have questions and I have prayer. So it's definitely like an intimate setting. And it helps you to realize, like, hey, I'm not going through this by myself. You know, there's somebody out there that wrote this, that understands what I'm feeling. You know, so it's a very non-judgment type of book, you know, and it just takes you through it, you know, like, hey, you know, I didn't think about it like this, or man, like, she's right, you know. So
give us a snippet of a poem from the book.
Okay, so I give you the first poem that's in the book. Again, the name of the book is called Ruined Womb, from infertility to inspiration. But the first poem I'm gonna spit is called Ruined Womb. Okay. I can't believe I invited you here. This is not the place for you to live. Stained black walls, harbor air ventilation, small room vacancies. This is not the place for you to live. My womb is like a historical ruined city. Graffiti marks on my walls indicate who was here, who left, and who stayed. Tradition to embrace absences of a lover. This environment made for you love slaves, down to embarrassing kisses, strokes, and looks. This is not the place for you to live. Similar to midnight street corners, I stood on the corner of lust and love, thinking I would find you there. But I never found rest nor you, so I threw in the towel of finding you. This is not the place for you to live. environments filled with shouts of disagreements polluting the air. This is not the place for you to live. Misguided prayers covered in self-pride. This is not the place for you to live. Dark roads and lost sight hanging from the bags of my eyes. This is not the place for you to live. So for you to live, baby girl, maybe I should live in heaven where you are. Ruined womb.
Get a little snaps going on here. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Thank you so much. I got tears coming down my eyes. I'm not sure you could hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it. I could definitely hear it. Oh, but it was so awesome. I loved it. Oh man, you all have to go and pick up her book. Oh, that was good. That was good. So you all know what to expect from the book. It's a collection of poems and scriptures and verses. It tells a little bit about her story. So you definitely need to go and pick up Tiffany's book, Ruined Womb, Infertility to Inspiration. Yes. What resources that are out there that you used or that you know of that can help other women that are out there who've experienced the loss, whether it's an ectopic pregnancy like you or just any other loss, any other child loss?
Well, what really helped me out was definitely God and family and friends. That's a start right there. Mm-hmm. To really just have that grounded foundation, that grounded support. When I first had my 2 losses, I didn't know about the infertility groups that are on Facebook and stuff like that. I didn't know about that at first. But adding on to God, family, and friends, there are definitely numerous amounts of infertility groups that are on Facebook that you can join. You know, other women having similar stories of trying to get pregnant and it's not happening as quickly as they think it should, and just, then doing the IUI or then doing the IVF, things like that. So I would definitely encourage whoever's listening, any woman or family that's listening, definitely check out any infertility groups that are on Facebook that can kind of encourage you and uplift you. Definitely join those groups. I would say too, maybe some small groups in church. Like if there's women in church that have gone through something similar as you, that's a support system as well. I know that now, since I have book signings, a lot of women from WOMAC, from the infertility clinics, they actually have contacted me. So I'm getting ready to speak with them. And, so I can speak to more women about infertility and ectopic pregnancies and miscarriages and things like that. But definitely start there with God, your family, and your friends. That's your rooted, grounded support right there. That's able to really understand and really show you love and support that you need.
So what encouraging words can you leave with the lost moms that are out there?
I would say to don't beat yourself up and to don't think that is your fault or to don't think that, it's something you did. Don't consider yourself as being ruined. As I felt, and that's the reason why I wrote a book called Ruined Womb, because I felt my womb was ruined. I felt I really messed myself up. Nothing, it's not happening for me the way that it should, and so I feel ruined. I feel like it's my fault, and I kept beating myself up. So definitely don't think it's your fault. Don't beat yourself up, and don't give grief a time as to heal. Because with me, I've had 2 losses, but I still grieve.
Right.
I still, I could be going to work and I'll think about, gosh, a year from now, my daughter would have been 1 or 2 or, however old, so you know, if you have those moments where you're still grieving, you know, where you're still just thinking, gosh, I had this loss, or gosh, like I wish I could hold my baby. It's okay. Have those moments. You need those moments because that's a part of the healing process. And like I wouldn't say that you're never gonna get through it, because you are. Like, you're going to get through it gradually, but give it time and let those moments come. You know, have those moments. Don't be embarrassed by those moments. Don't be ashamed of those moments. Mm-hmm. Have those moments. You know, and if you do have those moments and you need a shoulder to cry on, definitely contact like a close family member or a close friend, you know, somebody that can understand how you're feeling, and say, hey girl, I'm just having one of those moments. I'm thinking about my baby. Mm-hmm. You know, I need a hug right now.
Right.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I would just encourage you women, I would encourage you families out there to don't beat yourself up. Don't think it's your fault. Have those moments if you need to. Continue to pray. Continue to believe. And just take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. Don't rush it. If you still desire a child, give it to God. It's God's timing. It's God's timing. Trust me. It's God's timing. Mm-hmm. God's timing, not your timing. Because each and every time I've tried to conceive, it's never worked out. Like, the only time that I've kind of seen something working is when I wasn't thinking about it, and I prayed and I said, God, you know, if it's your will for you to bless my womb, you're going to bless my womb. And boom, he did bless my womb, but my child wasn't able to come through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't able to really carry, but God showed me, like, hey, I heard you. Like, hey, I'm listening. So I hope that encourages somebody.
Well, where can we find you on social?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Ruined Womb Book. You can find me on Facebook at Ruined Womb, From Infertility to Inspiration. And the next few months, I'm going to be working on a website. The website should be done, I would say, the first part of February. Mm-hmm. So, because I'm trying to just revamp some things. So definitely look out for a new website. But yeah, if you want to stay updated with me, definitely check me out on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you need to contact me for any reason, then you can definitely email me at ruinedwomb@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for being on the podcast. And I'll make sure that I link her book and all of her social media in the show notes, as well as the description box for you all to have. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners that tuned in. Hopefully I said something that can encourage you and your families, or anybody that you know that's struggling through infertility, child loss, miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies. You know, all those things matter. So you guys be blessed, and thank you again.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray the show was inspirational and a blessing to you. The show notes and links for today's podcast can be found on ericaandmcafee.com/podcast. Please join us offline in our private Facebook group at sistersinloss.com. Please rate and leave a 5-star review of the show in Apple Podcasts or where you listen to podcasts. Keep the faith, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday.